Looking for these better days.
It is Thursday, November 20th. I'm Scott Seidenberg. Here's what you need to know to make today a better day. The W's keep stacking up on BettorDay.com. Thursday Night Football will kick off Week 12 of the NFL season. We will have a same-game parlay cooked up for tonight's Buffalo Bills game against the Houston Texans. And, yes, big announcements here up on BettorDay.com. Mackenzie Rivers joins me here on this episode of Better Day, presented by FanDuel. And Mac, let's just get right into the announcement that we made yesterday, because there had been some questions, some feedback, a couple of replies to the email that was sent out yesterday. Yes, we are launching paid subscription tiers up on BettorDay.com. There will be an additional email that will be sent out today that will explain the pricing for these tiers. But the main selling point, and I think this is really something that, we had talked about for a while now, is we have the tools up on BettorDay.com, whether it's the databases now, the live odds page is there, Trench Report, the NBA models crushing it, all that stuff that we're putting together. But I wanted a way to give people the picks directly, because there's a large portion of the audience that just wants the picks. And sometimes they go to the picks page on the website and they see a pick there and the line's moved, let's say. Or they forgot to check the page and maybe we didn't talk about a game on the podcast or in the newsletter and they missed a best bet winner. Well, that solution has been found, because part of our paid subscription tiers will be 2 exclusive Telegram channels where you will be able to get every single pick sent directly to your phone. In the insider tier, you get the basic picks sent to your phone, as all the picks go up on the website as well. And in the premium tier, we are rolling out live betting, live in-game bets sent directly to your mobile device. And in addition, the live Q&A. I think this is a game changer, Mackenzie. I'm curious to hear your take, to share with the audience what you think about the weekly chat sessions that we're going to have with our premium members.
I've been in this game for a little while now. First started betting, and I'll say I've bought picks before. I wanted access. I wanted to see how the pros did it. So if I could go back in time, instead of buying picks, buy access to the guys that I listened to and wanted to understand their habits and their strategies, that would have been worth its weight in gold.
Yeah, so once a week we are going to be live on that premium Telegram channel for our premium tier members. And we're going to have a different, guest, and we're going to have a different, maybe a couple of guests. It might be a little a forum, or could just be me and somebody else. We're going to get professional bettors on. We're going to get handicappers on, bookmakers. And it's going to be just your opportunity to have access into our network where you wouldn't necessarily have access. This isn't just listening to a podcast. This is your opportunity to ask questions, to be involved in the conversation. If you think there's a fishy line for an NFL game coming up on Sunday, when we have this Friday afternoon chat, let's talk about it, and maybe we'll get the opinions of a well-respected pro that might have had maybe a hand in influencing that line move. I don't know. So
Right.
I do think that there's so much value that we are providing. It's just another way that we're going to continue to deliver the great service that we have brought to you already up on the website on BettorDay.com. And speaking of the website, hey, the NHL database gave us another winner last night, Mackenzie. The first period database identified a strong trend in the first period over between the Anaheim Ducks and the Boston Bruins. Cashed that best bet. It was 2-1 Ducks after the first period. This thing is incredible. To have to have all that data just easily accessible, just to be able to sort it and I mean, come on. What value we have.
Because you mentioned the fishy lines. People want to fish. People want to learn how to fish. That's why you're interested in sports betting, because it's fun to be right. So we can give you some picks that we like, but to give you the tools, that's the best, right? That's the best.
And
that's what you guys want.
I love it when people tweet at me and they say, hey, use the database to come up with a pick today, or use your picks, or use your advice to come up with this and come up with that. Shout out to all of our great listeners and readers that are profiting off of everything that we do here at BettorDay.com. And just because we're launching these subscription tiers doesn't mean anything's going to change. If you choose to stay at a free tier, then that's fine. You're going to get the newsletter every morning. You're going to still listen to the podcast. You can still interact with us on social media. Like, nothing's going to change. We're still going to be here each and every morning for you guys up on Better Day. So let's talk about what else we saw last night. Yes, we cashed our best bet in the NHL. The Ducks with a 4-3 win over the Bruins, but we had the first period over. The wins, by the way, are just stacking up on BettorDay.com. We've won 7 of our last 9 bets, I believe it is. Maybe it's more than that. I got to go back and do some housekeeping. But that was what we saw on the ice last night.
I'm reading 8 straight. I think
8
I can count
winners?
that far. I have 2 hands.
Okay.
Yeah, 8 straight winners on BettorDay.com.
That feels pretty good.
10-2.
Yep. In the NBA last night, Jalen Brunson made his return for the New York Knicks, and they win but don't cover against the Dallas Mavericks. 113-111 was the final, Mackenzie. Brunson had 28 points in his return from injury.
I'm kicking myself because this is something that the market always gets wrong, and I should have taken advantage. When a guy comes back, 11 for 23, 5 assists, his stat line was fine, but it's not just about Jalen Brunson not being at 100%. The team got a little used to running through towns and running through bridges and having a different approach. It was offensively going to be a little bit of a struggle. And the Mavericks were the exact opposite. Not having Cooper Flagg, I think, perked up the rest of their guys where they were like, all right, this is going to be an opportunity for Max Christie to really earn some, not minutes. He's going to be playing, but if he's going to be their go-to scorer, this is the opportunity to prove it. So the Mavericks had the line moved too much. When it was 4, it made sense. When it moved to 8.5 because Brunson in, Flagg out, I'm kicking myself for not giving you guys that bet.
Well, that's okay because there might have been some other bets that wound up being losers that you didn't give out as well. So
that's true. I made the model, right? And I like the model. It's done well, 60 and 53 on the year. But to look at all 3 games and go through them and say the model likes it, but I don't. Model likes it, but I don't. I avoided the 0-3 model night. So that's probably one of my favorite aspects of handicapping is to sometimes discretion is a better part of valor.
Well, that's why we keep you around, Mackenzie Rivers.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
We talked about the Warriors game yesterday morning with the uncertainty that Steph Curry was going to play or not. It turns out Steph didn't play, Draymond didn't play, and the Warriors didn't play. Heat win 110-96 over Golden State last night. Also last night, Rockets beat the Cavs in Cleveland 114-104. They dominated the first quarter 33-19, something that you might have played if you looked at our NBA first quarter database with Cleveland at home here. The Sixers fell to the Raptors 121-112, Mackenzie. But you like Philadelphia now on the second night of a back-to-back tonight. Tell us why.
Yes, no Giannis versus a young Sixers team that VJ Edgecombe is not sweating playing a back-to-back. Tyrese Maxey's not sweating a back-to-back. They're exactly the kind of team, guard-heavy, super young, built to shrug this off earlier in the season, while the Bucks have been shooting 45% from 3. Even the game we won fading them with the Cavs, they were red hot. They shot 48% from 3 in that game. They only ended up with 106 points because they have gunners, they have guys that can throw it up. But without that man in the middle to draw attention, I think they're very vulnerable. Looking at their schedule, and I have Bucks under their win total, I think they're going to go lose 6 out of their next 9 or something. It's going to be very bad very soon for Milwaukee.
Elsewhere tonight on a short schedule in the association, the Clippers are at the Magic, Orlando 5.5-point home favorites.
I kind of like the Clippers here, catching 5.5. I feel like they're playing a little bit better. And what the Magic do well as far as clogging the paint is kind of not the best, not what you need to stop James Harden at this point in his career from the perimeter. So I think Harden might have a big game and keep this close.
2 other games on the schedule tonight up on FanDuel. The Grizzlies 2.5-point home favorites over the Kings, and the Spurs just a 1-point favorite at home against the Atlanta Hawks. In the NHL tonight, we have a little bit of a larger schedule here, and taking a look at some teams. Again, the first thing that at least I like to do is look for the second halves of a back-to-back. We don't really have the prominent cities like I talked about. It's going to be a while before we have those games. But the Rangers are in an interesting spot. So they played in Vegas on Tuesday. They had the off day yesterday. Now they're in Colorado to play the Avalanche tonight. Colorado's just been so good on the season, especially at home where they are 7-0-2. This is a huge line, though. They are north of minus 200 favorites here at home against the New York Rangers. I'd look to check out the goalie situation here in this game for tonight, but there might be some value on the Rangers at maybe a puck line, maybe a plus 1.5 price here against the Avalanche. But I will monitor certainly the goaltending matchups when it comes to the full schedule tonight, and we'll take a look at the first period database and see if we have any gems to take advantage of, and we'll put those picks up on the Better Day Picks page, soon to be sent directly to your mobile device if you join our Telegram channel as an insider. All right, Mackenzie, Thursday Night Football will kick off week number 12 of the NFL season. Let's build us a same-game parlay. The Buffalo Bills take on the Houston Texans tonight on Thursday Night Football, kicking off Week 12 of the NFL season. And as we do each and every primetime game here on Better Day, we like to build a same-game parlay courtesy of our friends over at the FanDuel Sportsbook. So before we pick out any individual players in this game, Mackenzie, how do you feel about both of these teams coming into this game? It will be Davis Mills once again at quarterback for the Texans as C.J. Stroud is still out dealing with the concussion.
I feel like it might be 6-0 after 3 quarters, and then it might end 31-7 because the Bills can't not score. Eventually, they're going to find a way to put some stuff together, and the Texans just can't score. I know they put up whatever they did with a lucky 36 points against the Jaguars, but I think that was the anomaly. A bottom 5 offense by non-turnover EPA versus the number 2 offense. The Bills get there eventually. I guess hearing myself say it, I guess I'm most confident in Texans maybe team total under, because I do think it starts competitive and eventually the Bills just get a couple touchdowns and nothing the Texans can do to respond.
Interesting you say that, because I was looking at the totals for this game and I was seeing, well, first of all, the total for the game is sitting here at 43.5 with the Bills as a 5.5 point favorite up on the FanDuel Sportsbook. So if we think that we're going to see a lower scoring output from the Houston Texans, their team total is at 18.5. It's like a weird number because it's not a key number. It might as well be 17.5, like 17.5, 18.5, 19.5, like the 20.5. It's kind of like the same thing, right? Like it doesn't mean
20
anything.
hits.
Well, 20 does hit. You're right, yes.
Yeah.
But 18 and 19 don't. So, I don't care about this number. That being said, it is over the key of 17. I don't hate going under 18.5 for this one.
Yeah, that's my take on it.
Okay, so let's go leg number 1. We'll go Texans under 18.5 for their team total. Now, for the leg number 2, since we love going negative correlations, I want to go over on a Texans player prop, because if we go over on a Texans player prop, it's going to be negatively correlated to the Texans not scoring. I think Woody Marks goes over his rushing yardage prop. Woody Marks has been more involved in this Texans offense. The young rookie, DeMeco Ryans, came out even and said that our rookies are not even rookies anymore. And so I think that even though he only had, 44 yards last week, he still had 18 carries last week. I think that you have a Bills team that just got eaten up by Sean Tucker, right, last week with the 3-touchdown game. I think that he's going to have success running the football. It's a high number. It's juiced for a reason, 63.5. But I'm going to go over Woody Marks, 63.5 rushing yards as the second leg here of our same game parlay. And because of the negative correlation, Mackenzie, just those 2 legs plus 307.
Nice. So we're far above the minus 110 double up parlay, which is plus 260. Bills' third worst rushing defense by EPA. Only the Bungles and the Giants are worse on the season.
Okay, so what else can we add to this? What else do we think we see happen here on Thursday Night Football? Let's go Josh Allen under 33.5 rushing yards. He had the 3 rushing touchdowns last week in a back-and-forth game.
Right.
I don't think
exactly the opposite scenario that we're expecting.
Exactly.
Last week was.
Plus, it's a Thursday night. How recovered is he from running the ball so much last week and getting bruised and scoring those 3 touchdowns in the back and forth affair? Like, doesn't this feel like a game where if it's well at hand and Josh Allen's not going to need to run the ball for 40? And even last week, by the way, He had 3 rushing touchdowns. He only had 40 yards, 6 carries for 40 yards and 3 touchdowns. I don't think he has 3 touchdowns in this game here tonight. I like Josh Allen to go under his rushing yards.
I feel like they want to get James Cook back to where he was, which was like an all-pro a couple weeks ago. He's kind of been under 60 yards, under 17 attempts the last 2 weeks. Do they force feed him a little bit?
So here's what I'm just looking at. Josh Allen played a Thursday night game against Miami earlier this season. 4 carries for 25 yards. Okay.
Under.
Last year on a Thursday night against Miami, 2 carries for 2 yards. And let's see, the year in 2023 on a Thursday night against Tampa Bay, 7 carries, 41 yards, and a touchdown. So you can see maybe Tampa Bay, he just needs to do more against Tampa Bay. Going back to 2022, Thursday against Detroit, that was a Thanksgiving game, 10 for 78. The following Thursday against New England, though, 8 for 20.
You mentioned he went under against New England. It seems like games that, back when New England was bad. Our handicap is that when he has the game in hand, I think that's why they're going to force James Cook. They've been the most successful regular traditional running on an EPA per game basis this season, or at least they were heading into last week. So I feel like they reestablished that. That means not having Josh Allen do more than he needs to, keeping it traditional. And so as a third and fourth leg, I would say let's do Josh Allen under the yards and James Cook over the yards, or maybe just score a touchdown. What do you think about that? Now that's something you can force feed.
Yeah, so if we add just Josh Allen under 33.5, it makes it plus 592. If you throw in James Cook over 73.5, it makes it plus 1160 on a 4-leg same game parlay. The one thing that concerns me is that we have seen just not a lot of production from James Cook over the past 2 weeks. Only 13 carries and 16 carries over the past 2 weeks. But you're right. Maybe this is the week where they reestablish him and give him the ball a lot more. It's definitely correlated with Josh Allen going under.
Yeah. 73 is a lot for against a good defense versus the Texans.
Yeah.
What's another leg we can throw in there? If it was attempts, I would be more optimistic, but force feeding doesn't necessarily mean efficiency, especially if they're going to win the game 20-6 or whatever.
Do we want to fade, or how do we feel about we like Woody Marks? We're betting him to go over 63.5 rushing yards for the Houston Texans. What about any Texans pass catchers?
Against Nico Collins, 136 in his first game as Mills is a starter. All right.
But then last week's 9 for 92.
So it seems like go to your number one option. If you can't throw it straight to him, throw to the guy that can catch it wherever. So 9 catches and 10 targets.
Nico Collins' receptions prop is 5.5. Do we go over 5.5 receptions for Nico Collins?
I think so. Yeah. Unless his yards is 40. I'm guessing his yards is going to be like
it's much higher.
Very juiced.
Are you kidding me? Yeah. His receiver.
He's had 7 and 9 in 2 games.
Yeah.
Against the defense, not against defenses. The Bills' defense isn't great, so it's not like we make a special exception. I think we go Nico Collins over. I like that better.
And it's also a negatively correlated.
Anti-correlated. Let's go.
With the under. All right, so here it is. Our 4-leg same-game parlay for Thursday Night Football between the Houston Texans and the Buffalo Bills. Leg number 1, the Houston Texans team total to go under 18.5 points. Leg number 2, Texans running back Woody Marks to go over 63.5 rushing yards. Leg number 3, Josh Allen to go under 33.5 rushing yards. And leg number 4, Nico Collins, Texans wide receiver, to go over 5.5 receptions. 4-leg same-game parlay, courtesy of the FanDuel Sportsbook, plus 1354.
That's a winner.
If you want to take out the Josh Allen prop and you just want the 3 Texans props, plus 768.
We've seen a lot of veteran teams go to the guy that they have. If you only have Joe Flacco, you see Joe Flacco throwing 50 times. You only have Jacoby Brissett, you have him throw 50 times. The Texans don't have a quarterback, but they do have a running back and wide receiver they'd like to develop. So I think we can kind of see the inverse of that in this game.
All right, so there you have it. A couple of options there for a same game parlay for Thursday night football. Let's talk some other NFL news and notes. Mackenzie, Lamar Jackson is back on the injury report. It's like something different every single week with him. This is an ankle injury this week. So he didn't practice yesterday on Wednesday. Last week also didn't practice on a Wednesday, but he did play against the Cleveland Browns. Now we look at their matchup here coming up this weekend, and do we think that him not practicing on Wednesday is going to affect his status going against the New York Jets?
Now, the market isn't gospel. Otherwise, we wouldn't bet against it. But the market not moving at all is curious. I mean, 13.5, it doesn't seem like you would need 100% Lamar Jackson to cruise if you're going to cruise. But I'm kind of surprised that there isn't at least, a half a point move. He's one of the quarterbacks worth like 6-7 points to the line.
Well, it could just be just because the market's feeling, hey, it's the same thing as last week. He didn't practice on Wednesday last week and he played. He didn't practice on Wednesday this week. He's probably going to play. If he doesn't practice again here today on Thursday, now we're going to see the market move, right? So that's going to be the most the important thing here. Other quarterback news: Aaron Rodgers still doesn't know about his playing status. He didn't practice. He's dealing with that fracture in his left wrist, but says he feels fine. Wouldn't rule out his status here, and we don't know. It says Aaron Rodgers said that in order for him to play against the Bears, he has to be able to protect himself, whatever that means. He called it, quote, a safety thing.
Yep.
Do we think we see Aaron Rodgers here this weekend? Or is it a Mason Rudolph game against the Bears?
Would that be a downgrade? The market seems to have upgraded the Steelers because of whatever this news is. Some people would argue Mason Rudolph's better at this point in their careers, but this was 3-point dogs the Steelers were going to Chicago, now they're 2.5-point dogs, so that's a huge move. AFC North odds, by the way, since we're talking about these teams, still Ravens minus 300, Steelers plus 265.
Okay, all right. Sticking in the AFC North, guess who was a full participant in practice yesterday?
Shedeur Sanders, hopefully.
Joe Burrow.
Okay.
A full participant in practice, the first time that he was a full participant since he suffered that turf toe injury back on September 14th. And it was also the first time that he participated in 11-on-11 drills. He is currently in that 21-day window that allows him to participate in practice without being activated off the IR and onto the active roster. I don't think he's going to play this weekend. Like Zach Taylor kind of laughed at that. Not laughed, but he was just like, wouldn't even answer that question about him playing this weekend. But is it crazy to think that like maybe we could see Joe Burrow next week? Like, could Joe Burrow play on Thanksgiving against the Baltimore Ravens?
It is crazy, and it's just crazy enough to maybe come to pass. The Bengals have been outscored by 106 points, but that doesn't matter. They have 3 wins. If they can squeeze out 8 wins, go 8-9 like the Dolphins did last year, it will feel and look a lot different, and maybe Zach Taylor keeps his job. So I know he's rooting for him to come back.
All right, right now up on FanDuel, we have the lines for the Thanksgiving games. It is the Ravens minus 7.5 at home against the Bengals. Would you take a bet right now on the Bengals plus 7.5?
So they're 13.5 points at New York right now, and you're saying they're hosting the Bengals?
Yep.
I mean, I think the Bengals and the Jets are equal teams. So that tells me that they think, okay, they're hosting the Jets and they're 13.5. So that's adding 6 points to the power rating. That tells me they think Burrow's back, baby. That seems to be priced in.
That's good. It kind of feels that way, right? It kind of feels like this is pricing in.
A Thanksgiving Day miracle.
Wow,
the Home Alone guys walking through your front door on your TV.
Well, that'll certainly be fun to watch if, in fact, it is Joe Burrow playing here on Thanksgiving next week against the Baltimore Ravens.
Could upset some Survivor folks. That could be not the news you wanted if you've been holding on to the Ravens this whole time.
Well, think about the people in Circa Survivor. Yeah, you mentioned that, but in Circa Survivor, where Thanksgiving is its own separate week, right? And so you think about the teams that you had to hold on to for Thanksgiving, and maybe you didn't plan on holding the Ravens like at the beginning of the season, but then when Joe Burrow went out with the injury, and he
Right.
was done for the year essentially. And
That's what everybody said.
you've seen how bad the Bengals have played, that maybe you said to yourself, all right, well, now I can afford to play the Chiefs or the Packers or the Lions in a game somewhere, because I know I'm going to have the Ravens in my back pocket going up against the hapless Cincinnati Bengals. Or you were willing to play the Eagles instead of saving them for the Black Friday game because you said, hey, I got the Ravens. Well, now if that's Joe Burrow back for the Bengals, and if Lamar's not 100%, dude, that's going to be interesting next week.
Yeah, and it's the late game. It's gonna be. That would be such an event, such a dramatic turn of events.
Wow. All right, that'll wrap up this episode here of Better Day. Once again, the announcement yesterday about the paid subscription tiers. If you have any questions, simply just reply to the newsletter that you get in your email. We did send out the email yesterday announcing the subscription tiers. I will send out another email today with the pricing. There are discounts, so don't worry, you get discounts, and we are working on some other things to give you guys as kind of legacy members, the people that have been with us here from the start. Want to give you guys something a little bit of extra too, for just being with us as we launch this thing. It's hard to believe how much we've grown in just the limited time that we have been up and running here up on betterday.com, but we couldn't have done it without you guys. For Mackenzie Rivers, I'm Scott Seidenberg. Here's hoping you make today and every day a better day.